Good morning, Marianas, and welcome. It is Monday morning here in the CNMI, and man, we got stuff we got to do today. Welcome back here. It is Monday. It is Good Morning, Marianas. It is a little bit later than what we normally do. It's 7:16 right now. It is 7:16, so that's Western New York time. For you guys over here in the CNMI, that's not such a big deal, but for back home, 716, that's our area code. So funny, that here in Saipan, we're 670, and over there in Guam, we're 671. How crazy would it have been if I would have ended up going to Guam first to go from this 716 to the 671 of all places? No, instead I end up landing in a way better place. Sorry, Guam. Apologies to you guys. But Saipan is like that Goldilocks fit. It's not too big. It's not too small. It's just right. Well, at least for me. And I think for a whole lot of other folks. And the thing is, people who live here, you got to try to adjust to other places when you get there. Whether you're going to a big city or you're going to a little podunk, when you leave Saipan, there's just something about being in a community where you're this connected to everybody, where you're friends with folks, even folks who you might not be friends with. You still know them and work with them. You still got to deal with them, and there's nowhere you're going to go. Like I said, it's an island, right? So you still got to treat people with some respect, 'cause you're going to see them, even if you don't like them. You got to give them some love, a little bit. Maybe, because you're going to see each other. Hey, who knows? Because after that next typhoon, they might be the one helping you clear your driveway from that big mango tree that falls down right in front. Yep, who knows? But that's Saipan. It's a beautiful day out here in the Marianas, and I'm glad that you guys are here with us today. It is Good Morning Marianas right here, the only all-digital morning show that we have here in the CNMI. It's 84 degrees outside right now, and it's feeling pretty nice, too, because humidity's at 74 degrees, and the winds are pretty light out there at 13 miles an hour. Looking at a high near 88 today. Going to have some isolated showers, but mostly sunny skies, and it's going to be a great one today. Tonight's going to cool off a little bit, get down to 78. Not as cool as the best nights ever, but we'll take it. Winds are going to die down a little bit, about 30% chance of rain tonight, and hopefully that's not going to spoil the baseball game. That's right, Saipan Baseball League resumes tonight. Cardinals and Blue Sharks, first place and last place. Actually, Cardinals aren't in first place. They're a half game out. But you got the defending champs against the new team with a bunch of new players. And it's the highest scoring team playing the team that's allowed the most amount of runs. Hey, Blue Shark guys, don't get butthurt about that one. Sorry, I'm just telling you that's what it is. I love watching you guys play. I love the fight that you guys have for each other. And when you're out there on the field, it's all good stuff. But, man, it could be a tough one, no doubt. No doubt. Now, if I was your coach, I wouldn't be pumping you up in this direction. But I'm telling you, it's going to be a tough one. You get the highest scoring team against the team that allows the most runs so far in the season. The Cardinals, just too strong out here. I'm telling you, they're 4-1. They lost the opener against the Falcons. I'll say it shocked everybody, but it probably didn't shock the Falcons at all. But right now, through 5 games, Cardinals have scored 63 runs and allowed 17. Blue Sharks have scored 22 runs through 5 games and allowed 64. Oh, man, I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I have a crystal ball. The crystal ball is telling me might be a mercy rule game. Even if it doesn't mean it's not going to be a good night for baseball. So, hopefully everybody gets out there and goes and checks that out. And hopefully the rain stays away. Tomorrow night, though, is when we're going to be there for the NMI News Service. We are going to be broadcasting the game tomorrow, Tuesday, June 11th, because the undefeated Padres are taking on the undefeated Bandits. It's going to be a great game, 4-0 and 4-0. I didn't think we were going to go super sports heavy, but it is a sports town that we live in, and there's a lot of sports happening. And there's an alarm going off on my phone. And there's so many sports things happening. I'm wearing the NMI Wrestling hoodie here. Here we go. There we go. NMI Wrestling. You can pick these up, too. I am not on the NMI Wrestling team. Holy cow. I have to seriously diet down and do all that stuff to make weight for all those events. Otherwise, I'm going to face some kind of giant dude who diets all the time. No, I don't want that stuff. I don't want to get down there and do all that, but I want to support those guys who are doing it. So I do it by picking up this hoodie. Props to Coach Rick Bauer and all those guys who are training and getting ready for the micro games out there. A lot of teams leaving this week. And we had the chance to see, we had them in studio. We had a coach and a couple of the players from the NMI women's fast pitch team that's going to go. 16 players and 4 coaches who are heading out. I think they're heading out on Thursday. And there's going to be all kinds of athletes going out there. My daughter, after playing baseball this weekend, got to go and hang out with those guys. And they spent some time teaching her how to throw that ball underhanded. She's playing Little League baseball. Their season just wrapped up. But on the way out, going on and seeing them practice, little inspiration all around with sports here in the CNMI, because that's right. Just before, to kick off the weekend, we had a World Cup champion here in Saipan. She won the World Cup with Japan and back in 2011, and she was here chatting up all of our kids here and giving a clinic to some of the young girls out here also. This is Saipan. Who gets this? Who gets World Cup players coming to towns of like 40,000 people? Nobody gets this. We are in the best place ever. We're the luckiest folks out here. And our kids have an opportunity. Say whatever you want about, what we don't have, but what we do have, nobody gets. Nobody gets this kind of stuff. World Cup champions coming out here, giving on clinics and giving conversations to our kids. And it's free. It's incredible. She was out there at the Crown talking with all of them, talking with the adults, talking with coaches. She's been spending a bunch of time with the league organizers, with the FA, the Football Association. I know. It's soccer, right? But, it's called football everywhere else in the world. So, we're the FA, Northern Mariana Islands Football Association. So, it doesn't matter. It was awesome. A great opportunity. You think that's all that's happening? No. There was a skate event that happened over the weekend, too. Yeah, I know. Well, we'll try and get you some more info about that. I don't know about all that. I'm not a big skateboard guy. I know. I was rollerblading. I know. It was tough. I only did that for hockey. It wasn't a lifestyle choice. Hey, if you're a basketball fan, got some exciting stuff, too, because the Dallas Mavericks ended up getting their butts whipped last week against the Boston Celtics. We talked about it on Friday, and they got Game 2 as they roll into Boston today at 10 a.m. Chamorro Standard Time. Game 2, Mavericks looking to even up the series against the heavily favored Celtics. And if the Celtics keep hitting those shots in the field, there's no chance for the Mavs. Sorry, Robbie. I'm telling you, Mavs got some work to do. In the Laddie Cup, too, you got the Edmonton Oilers. Boy, they just got spanked against the Florida Panthers. And the Panthers looking pretty good. They won 3-0 in their opener. And their next game is going to be coming up. And I'll tell you, and it's not going to be today. And the Panthers looking too good. I'll give you 2 reasons why I like to see the Edmonton Oilers in there. And I'll just say, if you know, you know. If you've been following the Laddie Cup / Stanley Cup playoffs, you'll know exactly what those 2 reasons are and why people are excited to tune in for a chance of taking a look in the crowd and seeing some of those exuberant fans out there. Yeah, it's something. It's something. All right. Well, we do have more things that we're going to get to, and it looks like we're going to have a couple of interviews today. We're really excited about having Cookie Alvarez come in to tell us about the big fights that are happening this weekend. He'll be giving us a call. He's got a regular day job, even though he does so much work prepping all these fights and putting them together and organizing, because that's his passion. He still has a regular day job. He's doing that, but as soon as he gets a break in about 1 hour, he's going to be on the show with us. Also, we got a call in to U.S. congressional candidate Kim King-Hines to see if she can come in, talk a little bit about a statement that she issued last week from her camp regarding the tourism coming from China and her take on it, what's happening with the gov and all that. So she's out right now. She's not just running for office. She runs every day. So we're hoping to get her in for a little bit today as well and just hear her take on it. I mean, there was a statement that came out last week and where she said some pretty heavy stuff. And, it's a thing because it's becoming bigger and bigger issue as we get closer to the election It's normally just a midterm election. It's not normally such a big deal, right? It's just a handful of senators and a bunch of representatives. It's a big deal for all of them, and it is important, but it's not the big gubernatorial election, right? No, this is a big one. We've only had one U.S. representative in Congress, and his name is Gilly Sablon. He is not running this year, but there's 4 people who've stepped up so far. Is that all it's going to be? Maybe. Maybe more people are going to come in at the end. We'll find out by the end of August. That's when they close. But the thing is, you've got from the GOP, you've got Kimberly King-Hines. From the Democrats, you've got Ed Probst, and he's also kind of like that independent Democrat coalition candidate. And then you have a complete independent in John Gonzalez, and then you have a complete independent again in Leanna Hofschneider out of Tinian. Again, nobody's officially registered yet, but they're all going to. You'll see all those press releases when they have their small army of supporters that will go down there to the Commonwealth Election Commission with them for the registration. Anyway, the big deal that we were talking about, listen to this comment. It says, in a statement issued on Thursday, she said, right after Governor Palacios was inaugurated, my first words to him and his successors is the CNMI, were that his success in the CNMIs was going, she wanted to help any way she could. Great way for me to smoothly put that out there. But I think the bigger thing is that this statement, the fact is we need more tourists and our governor's not willing to lift a finger to pursue all markets. He was asked to apply for the Annex 6 exemption, and he refused because CPA needs more tourists to bring down the rates. It pursued the exemption on its own. That's going to be a big deal. We're seeing it become a bigger issue every single day. Businesses closing, the hotels closing. We got an airline leaving because it doesn't have passengers, and they're not just shutting down a route. They're packing up and they're out of here. This Annex 6 and the Chinese tourism is going to be continue to be a bigger issue. And what's next with all the different companies that are kind of battling, just trying to stay open? Hey, even our Post was trying to stay open for VFW. I'm not kidding. The VFW was struggling, and we were going to not be open after December last year. We're not making rolls of dough. Good news is we're gonna start working on some things for that. I got a great conversation about that. But more than anything, but it's not just that. Grand Rio, how many people are staying there now? How many people are shopping at DFS? How long before those companies that have been here, those facilities that have been here, how long are they going to last out here in this environment that we got right now? You just don't know. Well, I'll tell you what we do know. We do know that it is the weekend in the mainland, so we have one headline that we can offer you guys from the Associated Press. So we're going to do that now. So here's the latest update that you got from the United States and around the world.
News for this Sunday, June 9th. I'm Jackie Quinn. President Biden's concluded his trip to France, where he honored the veterans from World War II during D-Day celebrations and paid homage to some 2,200 U.S. troops who died in France in World War I.
Gives you both a sense of pride and, in my case, and my guess is you as well, a sense of reverence for what they did.
Biden laid a wreath at the chapel at the Ain Marne American Cemetery, recalling a fierce battle that claimed Allied lives.
They stopped the Germans.
President Donald Trump had skipped a visit to Ain Marne in 2018. A reporter asked Biden about that.
Any other questions?
Early results in from EU elections are showing projected gains for far-right parties and their candidates. Israeli families are celebrating the release of 4 hostages from Gaza, but others are criticizing the Israeli military for the heavy death toll. IDF spokesman Peter Lerner on ABC's This Week with George Stephanopoulos.
Forces came under extensive attack in an attempt to kill both them and the hostages.
And White House National Security spokesman Jake Sullivan says the U.S. supports Israel's right to launch strikes to free their hostages, but
all of their military operations, including hostage rescue operations, should take every precaution to minimize the amount of civilian harm.
The death toll from this rescue mission's nearly 300. In Wisconsin, authorities say a shooting at a rooftop party has left 9 people injured by gunfire. Parts of the southern U.S. are still sweltering. No record set this weekend, but Friday hit a new high of 113 degrees in Las Vegas. The winner of the French Open, Carlos Alcaraz of Spain. This is AP News. A university dishonor for Sean Diddy Combs.
I'm Archie Zaraletta with an entertainment update. Howard University is rescinding an honorary degree given to Sean Diddy Combs and returning his $1 million donation after CNN released a video showing him beating his girlfriend Cassie in 2016. Howard says Combs is no longer worthy of its highest honor. 98-year-old Dick Van Dyke won a Daytime Emmy on Friday for playing a man with amnesia on Days of Our Lives.
I've been playing old man all my life. If I had known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself.
Audio courtesy of NATAS, Associated Television International, and CBS. Pat Sajak's run as host of Wheel of Fortune is now over. His last episode was Friday after 41 years and more than 8,000 episodes. Sajak says it's been an honor to be invited into people's homes for decades. I'm Archie Zaraletta.
And I'm Jackie Quinn, AP News.
Is built. We lead by example, persistence to build. Be the inspiration, they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book. We be a Lottie where discipline and vision is built. We lead by example, persistence to build. Be the inspiration, they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book.
It's a great day to be up 3-0. I'll tell you that. Probably is not great to be down 3-0.
I'm Brad Rosala, and I'm the owner for Commonwealth Communications.
And I am Jojo Alipuzu. I am the owner of Island Image and Ocean.
And this is our joint venture, Sideline Studios. This whole concept that we have of doing all these live stream productions and covering news and doing live shows and everything, it wouldn't happen if we didn't have a great partner like IT&E, someone who can handle the bandwidth and provide it and then get us what we need when we need it, and then be a real partner for us for all the events, whether we're doing live sporting events, broadcasts. All of these things happen because of our partnership with IT&E.
With IT&E providing us with the fiber and point-to-point and even the MBRs, it's just a great piece of equipment to use when we're broadcasting our sports, our events, our performances, especially our cultural performances. And it's just great to share our culture here in the Marianas with the world. And IT&E has been there from the get-go.
The thing I like best about working with IT&E is how willing they are to come out and find a solution. Even for Liberation Day, we thought we had a pretty good solution for our live stream setup, and it turns out that we did not have the right setup that we thought we needed. That day, just before the parade, reached out to Paul and said, here's our situation. What do you think? He's like, we're gonna figure this out. While he's sitting there barbecuing, getting ready for the parade to start, he starts burning up the phone lines, calling everybody in IT&E, what can we do, what's the right solution? They left their families to do this stuff and get us the equipment that we needed to broadcast live. That's over and above. That's on a holiday. That's when he was out there spending time with his family.
That's why IT&E is just the best, just really in touch with the people and the community.
I recommend IT&E to everybody. Tell them the options are there, and you can choose whoever you want and then figure out what you think is the best. But when you're ready, when you're tired of having your calls disconnected or not having service, then you reach out to the guys from IT&E.
All right, welcome back, Marianas. Good morning to you. It is 7:35 a.m. and it is super nice outside. 84 degrees. And I'll take that all day. I will take 84 degrees all day for 400, Alex. That would be great. Well, hey, we're all up to date, by the way, with the Associated Press. Hey, those things only come up every hour, but over the weekend, not so much. They give one update on Saturday, one update on Sunday, and that's the update they give us on Sunday. Tomorrow, good news is tomorrow, man, we're going to have plenty of updates every single hour. Speaking of updates, we're going to be updating you about what's happening this weekend with the Ring of Fire. Yes, the Ring of Fire is going to be the big event that Trench Tech is putting on. You know, Cookie is the guy for all the martial arts, for all the fighting arts, all the events that are happening here in the CNMI with regards to that. He is that guy. So we're going to have him on a little bit later. He's got his break at 8:30 where he'll be able to come in and tell us all about it. It's going to be this Saturday. It's going to be at the Garapan Roundhouse. Same place where we had the last one. And we got some great sponsors and everything for that. Holiday Rent-A-Car, Century Hotel, putting these guys up. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. It's going to start earlier. The doors are going to open at 3. Oh, gosh. You know why they're starting at 3? So we don't end at like midnight, 1 o'clock. That's why there's so many fights. Who knows how long they're going to go. And they got some great events, too. You know, in the welterweight, you've got some names that you've heard before. Woo! All right. Shane Peekaboo Alvarez, he's going to be representing Trench Tech Saipan. He's going to be going against Isaac Tiger Heart Crisosimo, who's fighting out of Guam Muay Thai. Then in the big super fight they got at the bantamweight, you've got Andres Tenapac Beach Bad Boy Kamatsu representing Trench Tech and Young Boys Incorporated. They're going to be going against Ethan Aflay from Beneventi Strike Academy and the Yard Fitness. That's going to be the super fight. But the co-main event from Saipan, you're going to have Ram Korean Blood Lee out of Trench Tech going against Guam Muay Thai's Jake Albert. That's a straight-up boxing match. Yeah, just straight. If you didn't see him fight last time, you missed out. This kid takes a licking and keeps. He's like those Timex watch commercials. Dude does not quit. All heart, all fight, and that's what's happening this Saturday. Well, anyway, we're going to hear more about it when Cookie gives us a call here at 8:30, and that is what's shaking this weekend. The Ring of Fire. Johnny Cash would be proud to know it. We're looking forward to telling you more about that stuff when Cook calls in, too. What else is happening here locally? Oh, nothing. We only had a World Cup champion here. How often does that happen? It never happens. World Cup champions don't come to Saipan. Well, they did this weekend. And tons of young men and women got to benefit of listening to her talk and listening to her skills at the training session. It was open up to some of all the youth players, especially the ones who have been part of that JNA program, which is the Junior National Academy that they have through the NMIFA. You know, what's really interesting is just seeing the success of sports in Saipan and which ones are doing better than others and all that. There's so many, and there's so many reasons why. But that dedication to football that started here in 2006 and continues to build. Well, yeah, I guess it helps when you got like a millionaire investor who wants to see it succeed all the time. I think that probably helps when you're able to use all these employees that you have in all these other aspects of your business, and they could pour all their stuff into soccer as well. Yeah, I think that helps. We need basically Jerry Tan. If Jerry Tan is going to be behind it, it's going to work out. And it's definitely been that case for soccer. And you've seen us, like when we started, we were practicing on the dirt field in the middle of the track. Then Coach Ellie and the guys from track are like, hey, why are you guys practicing in the middle? You know, you're going to bring your cleats over. It's going to ruin the track. We don't have any of that problem anymore. We got a state-of-the-art facility up that got beat up by a typhoon and got fixed up again afterwards. Like, soccer is it. It's good to be in the sport that Jerry likes, for sure, and supports. And it's not a passing phase. Again, it started in 2006 here. And here we are 18 years 18 years later, I can't believe it. 18 years later, with a home of our own, 2 great fields, plus that training field. There's another training field that's going to be put on over there. Who knows if there'll be another like seating section, but they have the area for it if they're going to do something else out there. And then they're bringing in, folks who were in the World Cup. All right. Looks like I got confirmation, and I'm going to message this one back. Thank you. Thank you. And the number, let me make sure that is 670. This is good for you guys, too. 670-789-2323, please. That is our candidate from the GOP for Congress, Kim King-Hines. So thank you. She'll be calling in about 20 minutes as she's getting her stuff together. She's not just running for office. She was out there running, and now we're going to have her on the show. She'll give us a ring, and, I'm sure she'll be calling in. It'd be cool if she all of a sudden got the helicopter to drop her in and come in studio. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. At least we're going to get her on here, and I will take it and like it. And you guys will too. You're going to hear directly from one of our candidates who released that statement over the weekend or just before the end of the week about what's going on with all the tourism and what she's saying, the governor not willing to lift a finger to do anything about it. Essentially, not to pursue more tourists. That's the big statement. And it all goes around Annex 6. We talk about it now and build up to it a little bit. But there's an issue right now where we just don't have enough tourists coming into the CNMI. Right? We got one single economy and one industry for our economy, and it's tourism. We got all these other businesses that depend on tourism, and then there's businesses that depend on those businesses for the whole setup for their business is to support the industry that is support the businesses that are key in that industry, and all of them are hurting right now when we've only got like a fraction of the tourists that we got. So they're trying to figure out a way to get more tourists to come here. And there's so many good ideas and there's so many, but what is the plan? Well, one of them is to have something here for people to, when they fly here, what are they coming to do? And so MBA is working on that now where they've got their A&E guys, that's architectural and engineering, doing all their assessments and their new designs for all of our tourism areas, so they don't look old and falling apart. And it is an everyday kind of thing. You can't just build it and let it go because look at what happens. The stuff just crumbles or they get spray painted or people leave their trash. They get vandalized. You name it, all that stuff happens if you're not on top of it on a regular basis. So even if we do have all that stuff, we got to make sure we have the follow through because that's what we need to keep people going. And we need to keep people interested in the industry itself. Like, MVA needs to market to folks here. Oh no, you're going to be in Guam. When are you going to be in Guam? Oh, you won't be here for the fights, Tobot? Well, you're just a traveling man, dude. You're not just tinting. Are you tinting in Guam? Are you going to be tinting the airplanes? I don't think they have tint on the Star Marianas planes. Maybe you should reach out to Star and see if you can't get those windows tinted up. Maybe that'll help. Speaking of flights and tourism and all that stuff, had a great conversation over the weekend with some folks. We were talking about Star Marianas and then flying back and forth to Tinian. And I can't remember who it was. The woman was telling me that she's like, you can always tell who's local on the flights because if they're sitting up front, they're the ones holding the door open on Star and not just kind of letting it kind of hang open. No, you're pushing it out to keep the door open so that the air really rushes in for the people in the back. You're like, yep, that's a local. That's somebody from here who gets it. And by the way, when you're flying Star Marianas to Rota or from Tinian, what is your preferred seat? I know mine for sure. My preferred seat on those flights, the back of the plane. Any business class for me on Star Marianas is not, as long as you don't sit in the middle row. It's not bad. It's fine. But I like sitting in the back. It's like your own personal limo. You're here's your door. Welcome. Seats 4 and 5 await for you. I'm a seat 4 or 5 guy. Seats 2 or 3, seat 1 is the one where you're like basically the co-pilot. And that's kind of cool. That's a good spot to be in. It's really cool at first. Like when you first get here, you've never done that before or experienced that. It's cool to be like, ooh, like I could fly the plane. It's like right here in front of me. Don't do it. You don't touch it. And don't mess with the pedals either. But it's cool to see all those gauges and everything right in front of you. But I think flying to Rhoda, Rhoda's going to be different. Rhoda's got the bigger plane. I think those are the Navajos. But I guess for that one, my preferred seat would be in the back also because it's right by the door. And sitting by the door is fine on Star Marianas because they're not flying Boeing planes. Shots fired. Sorry, Boeing. I know you're an important part of the American history. Sorry, Boeing. It's okay. I think you're going to be fine. You're going to be just fine. All right. Well, I don't know where you like to sit. Tell me. I know if you fly to Tinian, where's your seat? Where's your seat of choice? And for me, it's that back seat. It's so much better. It's so much easier to get in. I don't have to. Climbing on the wing is awesome. Hopping in. The middle seat's not bad. It's not bad. I'm just talking about like which one I like the best. It's that one in the back, for sure. Yes. I like that. No. So, yeah, sitting up front is good. I do like that. No question. I do like that. But my preferred one, it almost feels like it's your own private plane. Almost. So now you know. Now you know. Speaking of having your own private planes, former President Donald Trump. What is it, Brad? What are you going to say? No. Just talk about it. So, he had just had his big trial. And they're talking about everything like that. Well, anyway, he's got his sentencing coming up. A pre-sentencing hearing first is going to be on Monday. Not our Monday, but in the mainland. We'll see what happens. Apparently, his sentencing is set for next month. So just a month away from now. So July 11th. That'll be July 12th from us, and we'll see what ends up happening. 34 charges, 34 felonies, and so what is that really going to turn out to be? We're going to find out. No matter what, it's not like it's not concurrent sentences, or not consecutive sentences. They would be concurrent. So if there was a year for each one of them, it wouldn't be 34 years. It would be like, if they were all 1 year, it would just be 1 year because they would be all concurrent. So I don't know what any of those things are going to turn out being. I'm not really that expert. Oh, all right. Looks like we got the call coming in right now. So let's do this. Okay. Here we go. The call is about to come in. We got about 20 minutes that we're going to be able to get with our candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives. Just waiting for it to see the phone light up. See if I can't, while we wait for this call coming in, see if I can't fix this one here. See if I can't get this on the phone. Okay. See if I can't get this part up. While we wait. It's almost there. As the music dies, I'm waiting. Come on. Here it's coming. Come on. You guys are like, what's going on? We're waiting. Oh no, here we go. Here comes the call. All right, the call just came in. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big good morning, Marianas. Welcome to the United States congressional candidate from the GOP, Kimberly King Hines. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, everybody. What's up, CNMI? Hope you guys are having a great week so far. Happy Monday.
Well, happy Monday to you too. And I was saying earlier that like you're not just running for office; you were actually running this morning, and we're able to squeeze some time in the day today to give us a quick call. And I really appreciate it.
Hey.
Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for accommodating me, Brad. I'm getting ready to head out. My kid got into an accident, and so I got to fly out this morning to make sure that she's okay. But I think that this is an important conversation, and I know you have some questions. People out there who are listening, want some information in terms of what has transpired and what the business community is talking about with regards to the tourism industry. And so feel free to ask away, and let's inform the public and engage them in this very important conversation that is going to shape the future of our economy.
Yeah, well, and we will get to it. I just want to say, I hope Sid's okay. I hope your daughter's fine, and we look forward to getting an update. I hope it wasn't anything too serious. And thanks. I know there's a lot of other things on your mind that you're putting aside just to get to the business of this call. So thanks. We really appreciate it.
God is good, Brad. God is good.
Well, let's jump into it. I know you released a statement about your take on what's going on with the tourism situation and how it affects the whole economy. It seems like this is like becoming it's bigger almost every single day. This topic about what's happening with the tourism or lack of tourists and trying to find new tourists, and you're seeing how it's affected businesses across the Commonwealth.
Correct. It is becoming an issue, right? And so the media had called basically to ask the question, was Asiana pulling out foreseeable? And that my statement was in response into that question. And I want to remind all the viewers out there that last year, CPA actually wrote a letter to the Department of Transportation requesting for supplemental funding in the tune of $30 million, because it foresaw that, one, tourism arrivals were not returning at the rate that we expected it to return pre-pandemic. Two, CPA does not get any funding assistance from anybody, to include the central government or the federal government. The only time that CPA received personnel and operational funding from the federal government was, an extraordinary measure by the federal government in response to the impact of COVID to all the airports across America. And so when they provided the CARES Act relief, and when they provided supplemental funding to the ports through the ARPA, all the airports across America needed that supplemental funding because they didn't see the tourists arriving, which supports personnel and operational costs of all the ports, right? And so we wrote this letter back in April of last year, explaining basically the cascading impact that raising the rates will have to the industry, because we just, we're not able to be sustainable if we didn't increase the rates. And so we had requested that $30 million supplemental funding to basically allow for CPA to give all the airlines, a 2-year discount, because at that time when we were projecting what the operational costs were for CPA, it was anywhere between 13 to 15 million. And so what we wanted to do basically was to pass on these savings to our partners at the airport. Absent that, we have to pass on the cost of running personal operations to the airlines, and we're seeing the impact now. And so, CPA actually had several meetings, not only with the FAA, but with the administration, to discuss this impact and to request for their support. We wrote letters to the House, we wrote letters to the Senate requesting for their support of CPA's letter to the Department of Transportation. Fortunately, we were able to receive the support from certain members of our legislature to include Congressman Kilili, who now supports, CPA's request for the Annex 6 exemption, which basically takes us out of the flight frequency limitation that currently exists between China and the U.S. as part of the June 2020 Part 213 order.
Right, and so that's what's so interesting. So it's really across the board. It doesn't seem like it's an issue politically at all. But how did I don't know how it became one, because it seems like, again, it crosses all the borders. It's the Annex 6, as I understand it, is really just a request to remove those limitations and nothing else. It doesn't open the door or the floodgates for businesses to come in from off island or anything. It's really just for tourists, right?
It's just for tourism, man. And so this is kind of where, I think the business industry is having a hard time, right? They're saying, hey, we're all dying. We need all markets to come online. But, obviously the statement to pivot has had a rippling effect on the industry, right? And the fact of the matter is that you can't have direct flight from China coming into the CNMI sans the Annex 6 extension. So, until we get that, we're lumped into basically the flight frequency limitation that is currently in place as part of the June 2020 order by the Department of Transportation, basically saying that Annex 6 no longer applies and that, we're lumped into that limitation.
So the way it sounds, we during the Pan Chamber of Commerce meeting last week, Ron Smith is the secretary, and he was giving that update of that Operation 500K, where they're trying to get to 500,000 tourists and what they need to do that. He was saying that the only holdup to asking is that CPA or the administration or both need to write this letter to the Department of Transportation asking for this exception. And this is something that the Khalili had already written that letter, I think you mentioned, and I think last year, asking for that. And the DOT is just waiting to get it from CPA or get it from the administration, right? That's the only holdup to them processing a request is getting it?
As far as I understand, right, there's an actual process whereby, you apply for it, right? There's a formal request process. Mm-hmm. And last year, the business community brought the request to the administration, and the administration basically didn't want to have anything to do with it. The only other entity who has the authority to apply is CPA, and CPA went ahead and did submit that application, but because there wasn't a full community support, right? Like even with Congressman Khalili's support letter came a little late, that effort needs to be renewed and resubmitted, as far as I understand.
And if so, with your experience with working with DOT, is that a guarantee if we ask for it that they're going to give it to us? They still haven't even had the opportunity to consider it yet. I mean, and if they do you know how long that would take?
So, obviously there is no guarantee, right? The only thing that we can do is ask, and it needs to be a unified effort, right? But when you basically have your head of state disagreeing with, your business, all the businesses, right? And most of the leaders within the community, it just doesn't look good when you're going forward in front of a federal agency, right? Asking, you know what I mean? It's like the children asking, but the dad is saying no. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how else to aptly describe that.
So, I mean, you're running for office, then this is one of the things that you're going to be dealing with. This is just the one little piece of it. And you were running, as you were a board member for a CPA for a long time, you were a board member, so you're really familiar with these things in particular. And, what would you say to the folks who are running the show at CPA now?
Well, at the end of the day, your duty basically is to keep the airport sustainable. And in order for you to keep the airport sustainable, you need more tourist landing. It doesn't matter where they come from. They can come from Mars or Uranus for all I care. You need more tourist landing so that you can bring down these rates. Otherwise, right, you're going to have to do further cuts. As far as I understand it today, CPA is already in austerity down to 64 hours, right? Now, if you continue at the rate that you're continuing, I'm not quite sure, right? And then now they're considering to roll back the rate. Who's going to pay for the operation, right? How are you going to meet your bond requirements? Your duty basically is to ensure that you meet all your federal grant assurance requirement as well as to be able to keep the airports open, right? And that requires money. Utilities alone at CPA is about $3 million, right? Every time you turn on the light, you open the doors, it's a cost to running. And so, people keep talking about how high these rates are. Of course they're high. I knew that these rates were high. As somebody, who comes from Tinian, whose community, that community and Rhoda community is the most impacted by these rates. That was a very hard decision to make because, right, now it's like shooting yourself in the foot when you increase rates to, a place where you frequent, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was not something that I took lightly, that I wanted to do on a personal level. But at the end of the day, the duty was to the Commonwealth. And the Commonwealth basically needs CPA to be self-sustainable. Otherwise, right, that in itself is going to be a problem for not just for CPA, but for the rest of the economy.
Well, and, I don't have all the facts and figures in front of me, but, somebody slid me a note last week saying that our rates are not just high, it's like 400 times higher than what they are in Hawaii. Is that right?
I don't know, but like I said, right, you need more airlines landing. So obviously,
you can spread that.
If you're going to compare Hawaii and the CNMI, look at the number of flights flying in to Hawaii in comparison to the number of flights flying to the CNMI, right? It's only Jeju, Seaway, and United, and what is the other carrier? Hong Kong Airlines at this point, whereas you have Hawaii, basically, you know what I mean, who not only has international travel, but they have a very robust interstate travel, meaning you have folks from continental United States flying into Hawaii. And, during the pandemic, we all were on Facebook. We were all watching social media when you had, folks from Hawaii complaining about tourists coming in during, the pandemic and just running around making a mess, right? So obviously we're comparing apples and oranges because it's a different market. It's a different recovery rate. We're just not where they're at. And so, of course, the rates are going to be significantly higher here than everywhere else because we're just not seeing the recovery at the level where we need it to be.
If we do the Annex 6 or if we, I think that's a good quick fix for us to have another market that opens up to it. But, you've been there for a long time. Is there other avenues of help for us outside of this? I mean, in addition to it, it really looks like we have to have this, but like in addition to that, is it possible that we have other folks that can help us out?
I want to be very unequivocal about the fact that I do agree, right, that we need to diversify, our industry to include our tourism industry. But if you're listening to the subject matter experts and you're looking at the data and you're looking at basically how long it takes to be able to get new markets online, it's going to take some time. And that is why everybody's saying, right, like, this is something that is possibly within reach, something that could provide immediate relief as we work towards a long-term solution to this issue. Now, in terms of pursuing other markets, right, obviously we need money to be able to give MBA to market the CNMI. And when you don't have tourist landing, right, you're not collecting hotel occupancy taxes, which in return funds MBA. So it's almost like a chicken or the egg conversation, you know what I mean? But at this point, it's no longer the chicken or the egg, right? Because, that market is not within reach. It's like balut to a certain extent, right? But there are provisions within the covenant that specifically state that, the federal government should assist the CNMI in terms of developing these markets. And I think, right, with the upcoming 902 conversation, that's an opportunity where the CNMI can reach out, and speak to our federal partners, speak to the Biden administration and say, hey, right? If the move basically is to just forget about and abandon, this market altogether, then we need help to beef up, MBA to be able to bring new pipelines onto the market, right? And so I think that there are opportunities there.
That's interesting too, because, you wonder where a lot of this stuff is coming from. We spoke with General Hashimoto. Well, he's retired now, and he said DOD is fine. They're on board with us bringing tourists in and going for that Annex 6 exception. So not sure where it is, but I used to be in that world a little bit, not as in depth as you were with the airport, just from the DOD side a little bit. So I've heard plenty about, how people view just Chinese investment or Chinese influence here in the CNMI. And if they're on boards with the tourism, it doesn't sound like that's even an issue.
Well, not too long ago, the Secretary of the Air Force was here, and I had the opportunity to sit down, and I asked this specific question, right? Where is why does our government believe that this is something that we need to do? And, everybody basically is like, we don't get into the business of dictating how you run your economy, and we don't take a position on that because, tourists is not the Chinese government, right? Mm-hmm. And so there needs to be a clear delineation between tourists and the People's Republic of China government, right? And so no, you're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, when we were getting ready to go to DC last year to knock on doors, to knock on doors of Congress, to knock on the doors of the Department of Transportation, to knock on the doors of Interior, I engaged with DOD and asked them, right, that, hey, if our governor is willing to come and do this door knock, would you be down to come and knock on these doors with us so that, this misconception, can go away, that this is national security interest driven in terms of shutting down this particular market. And, they were willing to come, right, and assist with that and assist with helping us, meet the right people. But obviously that didn't happen. And, a year later, we're still having the same conversation. And in the meantime, people are choosing between paying their utilities and paying their medical insurance. And people are literally now, in my conversations, are choosing to just drop their medical insurance altogether so that they can afford to put food on the table and to pay their utilities.
And that is not a maybe conversation. Like, that is happening. Those kind of conversations are happening for everybody. And it's not just limited to the medical stuff. It's all those other payments that people have right now. You can see it's happening all around the country too, but at least for here, how it's happened, how it's affecting us here. I mean, now, like a year ago, it seemed like a conversation you could think, well, it's down the road somewhere. But this stuff is not months away. This is like weeks away of what's happening with all these different things closing. And which one is going to be the next one? Is it going to be your Grand Rio, that has like nobody in it? Is it going to be DFS that has no tourists? It's certainly not as many going in there and buying those bags that everybody wants to spend $1 million on. So what is the next thing? And in the meantime, we got Hyatt closing, and that Hyatt closing means that folks like those wholesalers, that's a big avenue, a big customer for them that they don't have anymore. Those employees that used to work there, they were 80% local hire. That's 80% of like their folks now have to go find another job, and not all of them have them. It's not a big hiring market right now. So everybody's looking to cut costs because nobody's moving. And the question is, what is going to be next for us here? And is there going to be some action, or are we just going to watch the world change around us? So,
yeah, absolutely right. And, I was at I don't know if I've shared this with you, but I was at a Korean restaurant, man. And this owner of this restaurant was like, hey, he, runs out, follows me out. It's like, please, what else can we do to help this situation? Because, everybody, yes, we're Koreans, but we too need any kind of tourist to come for our business to be able to survive. And now, this restaurant owner was talking about possibly or thinking about relocating to Guam because that's where the action is at, right? And so, Brad, you're right. This is not a future thing. This is happening today, right? Where we're seeing these businesses cut hours, and everybody thinks that like, hey, you close down the Hyatt, all these folks can go and find jobs elsewhere. Where are they going to go? Other hotels are cutting hours. I mean, Crown Plaza is, operating on 30 hours a week as we speak. DFS is talking, about pulling out, right? There's rumblings of that. Grand Rio, 3% hotel occupancy. I mean, this is just the reality of the economy and this notion basically that it's not happening. It's here. It's happening now. And the only thing I can say is, man, in the midst of having this national security conversation, we cannot have there is no national security if the Marianas is not economically sustainable. And if you look across the Pacific and you see why China's checkbook diplomacy, has been working and is effective, it's because these economies are in such a hole that these communities are desperate. And this is what happens, right? You know what I mean? People get taken advantage of when they're desperate, right? I think that there's a lot of lessons to be learned from all the things that have transpired. And, I don't think anybody here is looking at, like everybody here is very cognizant, very aware. But tough choices need to be made. And at the end of the day, we all have a duty to our citizens and our people. And if you're a parent and your child is starving, you know what I mean? I think it would behoove you to do whatever it takes, move mountains if you need to be able to put food on the table and make sure that your kid is not going to sleep hungry, which is happening now as we speak.
Yeah, I know you only had a limited amount of time. I'll see if I can get you out with one more question, though. Okay. With you're talking about like, people get taken advantage of when times are tough and they're desperate and all that. Right now, though, is it possible? Do you see it as a possibility for us to try to leverage what's happening here with the federal government to get an exemption for cabotage rules out here?
I don't see why not, man. You know what I mean? I think that we need to be aggressive to explore every single option, right? That's just the bottom line. And that is one of those options that really should be looked into. And so, not too long ago, I was having a conversation about that issue specifically. And, the way it was explained to me is that the manner in which that rule is being applied is basically just an agency decision. Now, I don't know if that necessarily is true. I need to do further research. But if that's the case, man, there's a lot of room for advocacy without having certain laws being changed. And I'll give you an example, right? The Marianas, in terms of treatment, right? Sometimes it's treated, not sometimes, it's all the time. There's these rules that sometimes apply and it doesn't, and it doesn't, and it's arbitrarily being applied. And I think that is one of those rules that I see as being just that, and that should be on the table when the governor and his team, and I wish them the best of luck. I'm rooting for them when they go and do have this 902 consultation, because I think that is an area of opportunity. Do I know that for in fact will definitively make an impact? I don't know, because I haven't, looked at any studies saying otherwise. But if you're listening to the industry experts, that's certainly what they're saying. And, I'm just one who likes to listen to subject matter experts as it relates to these issues.
Well, great. Well, I appreciate that. I really appreciate you taking the time. You have a heck of a lot going on. We went longer than you said you were going to be able to give us, so I'm thankful that you stuck around for a little bit longer. But we're here all the time. All the best on your daughter. Hope everything's great. Safe trip over there, and hopefully we'll hear from you when you get back.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we can have the opportunity to sit down and further talk about the rates, further talk about this issue, and not in an adversarial way, but just kind of looking at the data, looking basically at what the subject matter experts are saying, looking at what is working in other markets and what's not working in other markets, and basically also understanding that the tourism industry has changed since COVID, not just for the Marianas, but all across the world. And, hopefully we can all, engage and get a better understanding of what the challenges are and just be unified on a vision moving forward so that we can all work collectively together with our business industry to be able to, rebuild our economy and make sure that everybody in the CNMI, has a shot at a better life. You know what I mean, Brad?
That's all you can ask for.
All right. Okay, man. Thank you for this time. Have a great morning, everybody. I'm sorry for being such in a rush this morning, but I do have a flight to catch. God bless you all. Hang tight and stay positive.
All right. Thanks again, and look forward to talking to you more when you get back.
All right. Thanks, Brett. Have a great morning.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. That was congressional candidate Kimberly King-Hines. She's going to be running for the U.S. House of Representatives, and she's running under the GOP banner. And we had her on for just about a half an hour, which was great. Hold on, let me get that off of that screen. And really thankful to have her weigh in. Again, this was based on the statement that she ended up releasing last week. And you see it in the cover today talking about, hey, if the governor needs to do something, basically, saying that the governor hasn't done anything. And so we want to hear what she had to say about that. All right. Well, folks, it is 8:17 a.m. I'm going to have to send out this link. Hey, I got people asking some questions about what's going on out here and how can we watch the show? I'm seeing your posts on Facebook. How do I see it? Well, you can see it right here on the NMI News Service. You can see us on the NMI News Service. You can see us on the Good Morning Marianas page, and you can see us on YouTube. What? YouTube? Yes, YouTube. Well, she's not on the phone anymore. I should probably take that part off, right? All right. Hey, there we go. All right, folks, we're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we will have more Good Morning Marianas ready for you. See you in just a minute.
They chose IT as a provider for every product that we offer. Then finally, we do those two things, we're going to crush our competition.
For every generation, it has started with the call to serve. Discovering the purpose and the belonging earned with the title. Learning to dig deep and push through adversity together. Defending our nation and its people. It is a life of great worth and reward. But Marines are never really finished serving. Their commitment comes full circle, visible in communities across our country. This is Semper Fidelis, always faithful, always Marine, marking a path for the next generation.
Our first house nearly never got built. My wife was so bent on helping the builder. Woman, I said, leave that poor man alone and make us some coffee. Not that kind you've been buying either. Instant Maxwell House coffee. Red jar, good to the last drop. Maxwell House. The instant that tastes like coffee. Be a good little Maxwell housewife, and we'll be happy here for a long time. Maxwell House coffee. Instant and ground.
Suddenly I'm up on top of the world. It should have been somebody else. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air.
A little trip down memory lane over there. Well, for people old like me, greatest American hero. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. And that also might bring you some Seinfeld flashbacks about George Costanza. Believe it or not, I'm not home. Hey, good morning, CNMI. It is Monday morning. It is 8:23 here on Monday, and we are just getting started. Just had a great call with congressional candidate Kim King-Hines from Tinian. She was the former chair of the CPA. That's right, the board of directors for the Commonwealth Ports Authority. And she was on here telling us about the statement that she released last week about the need to do more things and to get more tourism. And all we need to do is reach out with that Annex 6 to the Department of Transportation. Hey, it's 87 degrees right now. Humidity dropped to 70%. That means it's going to feel a lot nicer out there, even though it's getting warmer. Looking at a high near 88 today. Winds out of the east, 11 to 13 miles per hour. And that's not too bad at all. I mean, we'll take it. We'll absolutely take it. Hey, we've got a full day ahead. We should have Cookie Alvarez calling in here in about 6 minutes to tell us about the Ring of Fire. That's right, between him and Johnny Cash, there's all kinds of rings and all kinds of fire going on. This weekend is the big fight going to happen over at the Garapan Roundhouse. They've got a whole bunch of fights. There's boxing, there's MMA, and there's just a lot of fun. If you haven't been down there to see those things, well, I think you're missing out. It's a lot of fun. You know, these guys train all the time to try to get ready for these events. A lot of Guam versus Saipan events. And it's going to go down. Go support those guys and see what they're doing. I got the NMI wrestling thing on there to support them. Again, the NMI sending folks down to the Marshall Islands this week because the micro games are kicking off the 17th through the 24th, and they are going to be intense. We've got all kinds of sports and all kinds of folks, and I'll tell you what, it is not cheap to get down there. Not at all. And it's not easy to get down there because there's only 4 flights from here. We were going to try to fly there and do our show from there. If there's still a way I could do it, I will do it. I just can't get there. But once I'm there, I got everything squared away. Really, I was going to stay. I got it all taken care of, except for the flights. That's what you get. I just cannot physically get from Saipan to the Marshalls within enough time to get started for the games. I'm telling you, folks, I could tell you about how great it was going to be, but I'll just tell you the sadness of knowing that we got all that stuff lined up. We just can't get on the plane. There's no seats. There are no seats to get there. Unless I just don't have another way of doing it. But I already got my spot in the Village. We were going to do our morning show from the Village every morning of the games, and it was going to be awesome. I could have been a contender. All right, let's get off of that little sob story. Let's tell you about what's going on today. Again, Cookie Alvarez is going to be coming on here in just a few minutes, but let me tell you about what's happening in our community. It's happening. It starts today. Today is June 10th. It's Monday, this afternoon. Saipan, Tinian, and Rhoda. The military is here. They're doing their integrated readiness training. It's happening in Saipan, Tinian, and Rhoda. You need some dental work done. You got to get your eyes checked. Overall physical check. And how about your dogs, your cats? They're doing vet checks too. In Saipan, it's going to be at the home of the Manta Rays. Over there in Tinian, they're going to be doing at the home of the Colts and the Bucks, I guess, over at the Tinian Junior Senior High School. And also for the vets, though, the vet care is going to be over at the dog control program in Marlboro Heights. In Rhoda, everything's happening in one-stop shop. Dr. Rita Enos Junior Senior High School. And now here's how it works. Today is the day that it starts a little late. It's the first day it kicks off. Every other day it's going to start early, but today it all starts at 1 o'clock in Saipan, 1 o'clock in Tinian, 1 o'clock in Rhoda. And they're going to offer the dentistry services, optometry services, health care exams, behavioral and general public health education, and veterinary care. Now, this is, again, the military's in town. They're going to be doing this. It doesn't cost anything. First come, first serve. Line up, get there, and you'll get yourself taken care of. It's really pretty cool. So it's from 1 to 5 today, and then from the 11th to the 13th, it's going to be from 1 to 5. These times are the same for all the different islands, too. So that's good. So they're going to take Friday off. Yeah. Oh, no, they're not. They're going to be working Friday, too. In fact, Friday, they're not taking off. They're working late. They're going to take Saturday off, it looks like, because June 16th and 17th, they've got hours. June 18th, you name it. So they're going to be out there. Don't miss out. Take advantage of it. I know a lot of people who took advantage of it last time that we had this opportunity, but this is great. I mean, this is like 2 weeks plus worth of services that you're going to get, and it doesn't cost you a nickel. You don't want to miss it. I'm telling you. All right. So I know we're waiting on Cook. He's going to be telling us what's happening for the Ring of Fire. Okay, let's see. He's here. He just sent a message. Great. We just sent him a message back. So that's part of the thing. Most of the time when I'm messaging these guys, they're messaging the phone that they've known that I've had for years. And then I got to tell them, hey, when you call me, you got to call me on this other phone, this 670-789-2323, because that is the show phone. And, it's not a live look here. That is Beach Row behind me. That's a true story. But here, there you go. So that's it. So hopefully we'll hear from him in just about a minute or so. But again, if you guys want to call in, don't call in while we got the other folks on during the show, but we're always available for your comments. In fact, it's some of the best part about this show is when you guys call in and talk to us about what's happening. And then definitely when you guys get into the comment section that we've got here, and it becomes a great conversation. Yeah. Hey, Trey, sorry, I just saw you getting in there. Yeah, that's an old Maxwell House coffee commercial. Some classic stuff. I got older ones too from Folgers. I don't know where I saw it originally. I'm like, no, I'm gonna have to mix these things in from time to time because those classics from back then are great. Folgers is even better. I'm not talking about the coffee itself, but I am talking about the commercials. You're gonna like that. That one's even better. And it just like doesn't seem like it makes any sense. Like you wouldn't have those conversations today. Like that one for Maxwell House we got in there. It's like, be a good Maxwell housewife. Holy crap. Yeah, you can't get away with that crap today. I mean, my wife was pestering the guy who was doing work on our house. If she, why was she doing it? Why can't she just make a cup of coffee? Oh my God. Yeah, that's going to go over great today. That was on TV in the 60s. I love it. I love being able to see the difference that spans over generations. I think it's fantastic. But what a different world we lived in. A Nescafe guy. Hey, I'll tell you what, that's all in one. You don't even need anything. All you need is you just need a microwave. You heat up some water, and then you can pop in that stuff, that instant stuff. It's good. Oh, my goodness. I absolutely love it. Like the Folgers one will show. Okay, hey, we got the call coming in. All right, 1 second. All right, wait a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to put everything on hold because we have with us now the man, the myth, the legend, the flying cockroach is on the phone, ladies and gentlemen. It is Cookie Alvarez. Cookie, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Brad. Wow, what an awesome introduction. So, just real quick, I did away with the flying cockroach. It sounded a little too creepy crawly. Now people refer to me as the janitor because I clean things up and I keep the image of the sport clean. How about that one?
Oh man, I mean, I'll go with it. Whatever you want, you got. I'm gonna change it.
I got nominated and voted as the worst MMA name in history on one of the polls, so I'm pretty proud about that when it was the flying cockroach.
That's the best one. That's the best.
Real deal, no lies. I got an accolade for that name, so it's got sentimental value to it, but I did away with it because some of the kids were like, ew, that sounds gross.
I mean, it is gross. It is gross but it's true. You can't. It's just part
man, come on! When you see a flying cockroach, don't you get scared?
I don't want to admit the girly sounds that I probably make. Swatting at it all over the place.
I'm not afraid to admit it in my household. Whenever we see a cockroach, and there's 3 grown men, me and my 2 older sons, whenever we see a cockroach, we yell, "Mom! Get the flies away!"
The slipper. I'm the one who gets called for all those things. I know that this is totally not why you called today.
Lucky
but
you.
I'm the one who gets called, and I'm like, I'll come and I'll get it. But I tell them, like, don't lose sight of it. I got to know where it is. And then, I lost it. I stopped looking. I ran away.
Well, I know you're probably one of the guys that finishes half the can of Raid when you see the cockroach, right?
I'm a slipper guy, but I am definitely a Raid guy. I am all about the Raid. I have no problem with that. Chemical warfare.
My wife had to transfer to the nice-smelling scent Raid because the older Raid that was too strong, it just made the whole house smell. So she said, let me get the one that at least smells like flowers.
I haven't tried that one yet, but I have definitely gassed my family out with Raid.
Hey, morning, Brad. Thanks for having me this morning.
Yeah, great to have you. Hey, so we got a big event. The Ring of Fire is coming up this weekend, Cook. Can you tell us about it? This is the latest.
Absolutely. The Ring of Fire 2. We call it Ring of Fire Round 2, all going down at the Caravan Central Park Roundhouse this Saturday, June 15th. We are going to open and start a little earlier this time. Last Ring of Fire 1, we opened the doors at 6 and started at 7. We ended up finishing past midnight. So we got 25 action-packed bouts, Brad, for everybody's viewing pleasure. So we're going to open the doors earlier at around 3 p.m., and then the early prelims are going to get going at 4 to 6 p.m. We're going to get the 10 early prelim fights out of the way, and then we're going to resume the action with the main card from 6 p.m. to hopefully before midnight, around 11 p.m. We plan on finishing this time.
Wow, that's awesome. Like when I saw doors open in that early, I'm like, well, he's serious. You told me you were talking about trying to get it done early, and now there's no maybe about it.
Yeah, there's a plan behind the madness. So with 25 fights, we're gonna get the very first timers out of the way first. We let them get their glory and their shine, and then if some of their parents want to take them out to dinner to celebrate, they can go ahead and do that instead of stick around for the rest of the night until 12 midnight.
Yeah, and that's great. At 25 fights now, are a lot of these Saipan versus Saipan guys? I know you got a lot of Guam guys coming in too.
Gosh, I think we have at least 15 fighters, at least 13 to 15 fighters coming up from Guam. I got to break out the fight card, but yes, definitely got a lot of Guam versus Saipan fights coming up on that card for sure. And then a lot of local Saipan versus Saipan fights as well.
And you mentioned about getting those first-time guys out of the way, but some of the most exciting fights are those guys who are just in there, the new guys.
Absolutely, you are absolutely correct on that. The first timers got a lot. They got a lot to prove, and they definitely are super energetic, and they want to showcase their stuff. So all the fights. That's why I said 25 action-packed bouts, Brad. It's going to be a whole night of nonstop action for sure.
It was so much fun. I was at the last one. I got to be a judge, and just to see all the work. I mean, it's really evident how much time and effort that you put into all that stuff to make it happen. And it's got to feel so satisfying for you at the end of the night after all that stuff goes that, they got to fight after training.
Oh yeah, definitely, Brad. I mean, it's a labor of love for me, and I do it from just really passion. I've been doing this for a long time. I started out as a fighter myself, but then this is a young man's sport. I'm already in my early 50s, so I'm gonna leave all the fun to the kids. But yeah, man, it's just a lot of work goes on behind the scenes, but it's something that I really enjoy doing. I love doing the matchmaking. I love calling other teams and introducing them to the possibility of them, joining and competing in the event. So it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun as well.
Well, I bet. And you get people to come out all the time. People love it. The fans love it. The fighters love it. Their supporters love it. I'll tell you, though, those Guam versus CNMI matches, people got all OBA for those events.
Oh, man, for sure. I mean, people always love a Guam versus Saipan match. It's always something epic, and it's always something that the fans really look forward to because, all of us Saipan folk, the Saipan fans want to see us beat Guam, and, of course, the Guam fans vice versa. So, now that Guam is coming into our territory, of course, it's always an exciting fight. And, in fact, some of the main fighters are from Guam. So I have 2 super fights from Guam. They'll be going up against top guys from Saipan. And then the co-main event is going to feature Ram, Korean Blood Lee from Saipan. He's going to be going up against a fighter from Guam. Gosh, I forgot his name, but he was the main event last fight. So that's going to be an action-packed fight. And then Shane, my son Shane, is going up against one of the top guys from Guam Muay Thai in the main event. So it's going to be action-packed. And then I got the Tanapa Beach Bad Boy from Saipan, really a crowd favorite. He was the main event winner last time. He's going to be going up against one of the top dogs from Guam.
Well, I saw that. That looks really cool. Man, I remember Ram from last fight. That guy just kept going. He could take a punch. That's an understatement.
Oh, yeah, man, Ram. That's why they call him the Korean Blood. He fights until he draws blood, this guy. Yeah. All these fighters have been training real hard, Brad, especially after the first fight, knowing that there was a Ring of Fire 2 coming up. So I know for sure that they're way more prepared and more focused to go out there and test their skill set.
Well, it's got to be great. I mean, you said it's a young man's sport, so I'm not going to get into it anytime soon. So that part's
we
good.
We can do it as a workout. Definitely as a workout. It's a great workout.
Man, I might try that. That I could possibly try to do it as a workout. But like all those moves that you got to get, the reaction time and everything. It was tough watching one guy who I know. No names need to be mentioned, but one guy I know who trains for this stuff. The guy's in great shape and everything. and you could just see that he was the guy that he fought just outclassed him, outmatched him. He didn't have time to train, he was saying, because he was getting his kids ready for the fights. But, man, just watching this guy taking a beating, and this is a tough guy. If this guy's on the losing end, what do you, Brad, any of those ideas you ever had of going in, you're not doing that ever.
Oh, man, for sure, Brad. Every match has a story. You know what I mean? All these guys live their 9 to 5 daily lives.